Welcome to episode 2 of Star Wars Culture Live, a brand new podcast focusing on Star Wars excitement and connection, your escape pod. Get it? For hyperspace buzz and fandom fixes. I'm going to mess with that delivery every time. I am Ian, this is Marty, and we are in our first era called a new hype, if you will, since we're a brand new podcast enjoying the hype of a franchise and a fandom that has been around for 47 years. If you are on the internet at all, ever, you know Star Wars fans can get a little toxic and not really fun to be around, especially whilst discussing Star Wars. But that's not what this is. That's not what this podcast is. This is where the fun begins. We want to talk about the things we love about Star Wars, how it enriches our lives, the things we love about the community, the culture, the fans, the media, anything you want. So throughout the show, if you, the viewers, have anything for us, reactions, questions, requests, suggestions for new segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments and we will see what we can do. First up is host fun facts. Quick fun facts about each of us, your hosts, just so that you get to know us a little bit better every episode. So why don't we start with you, Marty? Hit us with a fun fact.
All right. This was kind of difficult a little bit. I didn't know which way to go with this. The first one I was going to share, but decided to wait a little bit, maybe do a show and tell with this one. But the first one was that I was going to say that I have this, like a reproduction print of Empire Strikes Back from 1980, right? It came out with the 2004 special edition DVD. But with that, I had this idea. I went to my very first Comic-Con, 2015, and it was a Lexington Comic and Toy Convention here in Kentucky. And I got to meet Billy D. Williams and Peter Mayhew within the same day, and I got both their autographs, and with that, it became like my lifelong goal to try to get as many people from that movie on that book. Unfortunately, though, won't be able to get Carrie Fisher or Kenny Baker. But I'm going to try to get as many people as I still can, just because it just became a passion project. But really, the most fun fact about me, I really thought about this one, was in 2012-ish, 13, kind of somewhere around there. And you can find this on YouTube. I was in a web series called Freedmont. It ran for 12 episodes. And I was a character named Nathan, who was an athletic guy. Kind of weird that I was that kind of character, because I wasn't, the athletic type. But it's a show about these gifted students who went to this special school. But some weird things have been happening in that school, and they're all trying to figure it out why they got accepted. But yeah, you can check it out on YouTube. Freedmont. It might look like a potato now. Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. But
what year was
a little bit about me.
You said 2012?
12 or 13. I can't remember the quality. It might be 720. It's been a while since I've looked at it.
I remember a video that we did in high school that was on like an old handheld camcorder. It was hilarious. That's cool. Freedmont. We gotta check that out. Check out Freedmont. For my fun fact, all I went with was that I'm a beer guy. I often will be at this time of night enjoying a beer type beverage, especially when I'm doing a podcast that I may or may not be nervous about doing. So to calm nerves, you might see one of these occasionally while Marty's talking. So today's species is Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA, classic, well-known brand there. So you're welcome, Dogfish Head. Anyway, let's get to the normal segments of the show. Let's move on to HoloNet news. We want to check in with something we were talking about last week, which was the Acolyte. Renew the Acolyte, save the Acolyte. These hashtags have been trending for the whole week, as far as I've seen. And there is a petition on change.org that to renew the Acolyte, and it has 50,000 signatures on it. I signed when it was at, I don't know, like 7,000, and there were still a bunch of petitions out. But it seems that these people have the all these attempts have kind of solidified into this one petition. I've seen a bunch of articles come out about it, so I'm kind of hoping Disney see it. What do you think? What have you seen, Marty, about renewing the Acolyte? Anything like that?
I've seen that petition as well, and I can't believe how much it's actually hit. I can't wait for it to actually hit its goal. Hopefully, hitting its goal will actually mean something. I also saw, though, unfortunately, on the same exact petition site, there is a do not renew the Acolyte, but unlike renew, do not renew has a fraction of that. Like I think it was like 6,000, and it stayed there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
For
it
quite a
was.
while.
I also heard that fizzled pretty quick. Yeah.
Anyone can't deny that the Acolyte is. I mean, sure, it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but it gave people something to talk about.
And there's so many stories that like I want to know what happens next. Like the conversation with Vernestra and that senator was just incredible. It was challenging anyone who had any positive views on the Jedi at all, and it would be amazing to see where that goes and to see the conflicts that happen there. And I mean, you can't tease us with Darth Plagueis and then just peace out. Like, come on. So yeah, I hope it goes somewhere. I don't know what the goal is, and I know 50,000 people is like a drop in the bucket for Disney. What is that? A fraction of the people who go to their parks every day.
Right.
But like getting 50,000 signatures on something is not a small thing. Like no matter what it is, and I hope that illustrates to someone up there that we want it. That just the people who don't want it are loud, but they are fewer, and I hope that this illustrates that point.
Although I did hear, though, this might be due to the fact that Disney's cutting back on their streaming stuff because they're not getting as much viewers on the actual Disney Plus app. Plus, they're wanting to put Star Wars back out into theaters, which, don't get me wrong, I can't wait for that to happen again. But
that's cool.
Give us something on the small screen too. Kind of like a flavor saver of Star Wars,
Yeah, I love when those seasons that come out, and I'm waiting for Wednesday every week. I hate it, but I love it. Like Netflix will just release a whole season of something, and that's cool to be able to binge it. But there's something about I don't know, like, oh, it's Wednesday, we can watch the thing. Like,
really
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, the main news event here is that Star Wars Outlaws has been released. This is a new what do you call it? Open world game that sorry, I should put that on there. And this new open world game that was released by Ubisoft, and it looks a lot like Uncharted. I have not been able to play. What have you seen about it?
I mean, with it being Ubisoft, it's actually made by Massive Entertainment. They're best known for the Division franchise.
Oh, right.
So their games are pretty good. It's actually interesting that they're doing a single player game instead of an online game such as the Division. But what I've seen of it actually kind of reminds me like they've taken some gameplay elements from Assassin's Creed. Just the stealth sneaking. Sure, you won't be knifing people in the neck with a hidden blade, but as you can see, she was up there knocking out some stormtroopers.
Yep.
But this game just looks amazing.
It reminds me of the in the Uncharted series. Like the first time I ever played an Uncharted game, I just borrowed it from a friend. I wanted to go up in there like it was a shooter. Just go up, busting all loud and heavy, and just shoot everybody. You can't win by doing that. If you get all the bad guys shooting at you, you die immediately. That's not how it is. You have to find a way to navigate the room, and maybe you take out some people, maybe you don't, but you have to figure out how to do it, incorporating stealth or strategy into like a live action thing. So, and that is kind of what this looks like. I really love how seamless they made the transition from planet side to space and vice versa. Like I've seen clips on TikTok or whatever
Oh yeah.
where there's like you're on Tatooine or whatever, and then you go onto a ship and you take off, and then you go in the clouds for a little bit, and I guess that's when the loading and transition happens. But then you go up into space and you're there, and there's not a loading screen, there's not like a blackout, there's not like a game
Yeah.
tips show up on there's none of that. It's just continuous, and I think that's pretty game changing, mind
It
blowing
is.
stuff.
It definitely is because they tried that, and I don't know if you remember, but like on the PSP, there was Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron, where they tried the planet to space battle, and there was a mini cutscene that would go in between, and you'd hear a little music playing with it as you're transitioning. But here, this transition is kind of seamless. Like you don't get controls for maybe 5 seconds from entering from the atmosphere to space or vice versa. It's I don't know. I just feel like this is a game that a lot of people have been waiting for. Sure, people are going to complain that it's not a direct, you can't fly in there, but you got to have a little bit of a loading. Otherwise, the game might cost a little bit more to make, take a little bit longer,
And to
something.
have
But
all that stuff ready to go and rendered like right away at all times, like that's not. I feel like that's not practical to have all this.
yeah,
Like
no.
when she's doing this stuff down here, it's not practical to have the space stuff rendered and ready to go up there, right? I mean, I'm not a game developer or anything, but that it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I can't. I don't know the technical terms, but yeah, I feel like I think Starfield, maybe Starfield, whatever that game is for Xbox only. I think they tried that maybe,
Huh.
but I don't know. This right here, I feel like you gotta pick and choose your battles on what people are going to complain about. If that's one of the things you're going to complain about is direct space to air, space to ground, so be it. That's fine. I mean, the game overall just looks really fun. You get 4 different planets, maybe 2 or 3 different towns within that planet. It's a big map.
Yeah,
From
that's
what I
awesome.
keep hearing. And if you guys watching have picked up, maybe we actually have. Where is it? An ad cut.
Yep.
Our background actually is one of the towns, the new planet that they have in the game called the planet called Toshara. Actually, it's a moon, but it's one of the newer places that's made just for the game. Soon, I'm sure it'll be in all the books. They always reference it every time they can.
That's cool. It looks like
the little.
I don't know. It's exactly what I picture from a Star Wars world, where it's like, you have these mountainous or rocky areas. Like it just looks like it could be somewhere on Earth, but then you have this rundown but futuristic spaceport looking area. It's great. That's exactly what you picture, or what I picture for a Star Wars setting. Oh, whoops.
Sorry. Let me fix that for you. There you go. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I love the arches, like the archway right there.
Yeah.
If you look at it kind of reminds me of like either a Western or even a Japanese film where like I'm just imagining somebody walking in there and just people dispersing. I don't know. I just love the detail they have in this game.
With the old saloon doors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that. All right, so that's our news segment. If you if you want more in-depth news, check out Star Wars Culture. Check out the weekly slate that we have going on. This is Star Wars Slate, but we also on the Culture Slate page, we also have a weekly slate that keeps you updated on all the news around everything Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, other movies, Hollywood, all kinds of stuff. So check them out. They are awesome. Also, Marty, if you want to plug the other shows, we are not the only podcast from Culture Slate. So especially, and we're not even the only Star Wars podcast from Culture Slate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're kind of like a umbrella kind of thing. We got other shows to watch, like right after this at 9 o'clock Eastern. What is it? 3 hour difference. 6 o'clock Pacific, I believe. Is right after us is Tractor Beam, where they do review all the comics that have come out that week or month. If it's a monthly issue, check them out. They're pretty cool. Matthew and Star Raptor. You can catch them there. Thursdays, you have Star Wars Underworld, the Star Wars Underworld podcast with Ben, Chris, Dominic, and one of our producers, Hannah. They do an amazing job. They're all about the latest breaking news and entertainment of Star Wars. They also do reviews on episodes that come out each week. And last but not least, you could catch Ion Cannon. They are the lore. I'll call them the lore guys. They're all about the lore of all canon and legends material, and also the High Republic. If you look at their logo, it is Mark and Rose helmet. Amazing. I love it. I listen to them, watch them, whatever it is. I do want to give them a shout out in return. They are amazing people to listen to and to talk to. But check them out on the Star Wars Underworld Network on YouTube, or listen to them on Spotify, Apple, things like that.
We had a comment. How is this so far, Rob Mobley? That was from I think that was when we were looking at the Outlaws gameplay. It might have looked like we were playing that and streaming it. We were not. That was a clip from YouTube. But it looks incredible. It is on my list. I need to get through Jedi Survivor before I buy another $100 game. But yeah, it looks incredible. It looks super fun from the streamers I've seen for a few minutes, or from the clips I've seen on TikTok. It looks pretty great. I've also seen some really funny glitches. To be fair, there has been some. I heard that there was some type of game, like deleting progress situation. Like the people who got early access, once the full game was released, they had to lose all their progress. They had to start over, which that's not cool in any way. So sorry if that was happening to any of you, but
well, it actually doesn't fully officially release until the 30th. So maybe they hit a jumping point in the game where it's like, wait, hold on, you can't go any further until the game's released.
Oh, maybe. I know that they just got a message. The one I saw, they got a message that they had to like delete their progress and start over, like from Ubisoft.
That's so weird.
Or something. I know. It's unusual. It's definitely not what you want to hear.
It is Ubisoft though, so I mean.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not gonna dog on them. I love Ubisoft.
Another very funny glitch I saw was somebody she was riding like a motorcycle type thing or something, and banged into the ground and just like glitched 20 feet under the map, and just like with the strings like to the floor and everything. It was hilarious. It was right after the streamer had said how awesome the game was. Like, this game is incredible. Doink, and right under the ground. It was awesome. All right, so that's your news. We're going to move on to one of the fun little segments on this day in Star Wars history. That is all Marty. Take it away.
All right, let's see if I can find it. I have it. All right, so today in Star Wars history, if it will show, there we go. On this day in 1979, Rap Party is held on the Bog Planet set of Empire Strikes Back. Filming is not yet finished, however. So, as you can see, it's the Bog Planet. You could definitely tell what that planet's going to be.
Definitely Tatooine, right?
Oh yeah, definitely Tatooine.
Definitely. That's cool. That I would have loved to just be, that's probably one of my top 5 like go back in time possibilities to go back and see what those parties were like, especially if like Carrie Fisher was there. I want to know what
Oh yeah.
uh I want to know what that was like, especially before any of the Star Wars media and everything, like before it was a mainstream thing. Like they had no idea how big it was going to be. That'll be cool. All right, so our next normal segment, we have something called Top 3, and in honor of Star Wars Outlaws releasing, we decided to chat about our top 3 Star Wars video games. This was by far the hardest list for me to come up with because I think I've only played like 9 or 10, and you'd think it would be easy for me to pick a top 3, but it was not. And so there are some honorable mentions in here. So, but we have clips from gameplay walkthroughs and stuff for all of them. So, Marty, take it away with KOTOR.
Yep. I mean, before I begin, I want to say, yeah, this list was hard. I've played a lot, maybe about 9 or 10 games, maybe a little bit more in my life, but it was hard. I had to go back through and think, which games did I actually enjoy? Which games did I actually repeat playing? I'm going to say in no particular order because it is kind of hard, but game number 1 that I came up with that I thought this game has to be on the list somehow, Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, that game, kind of like the biggest, most popular Star Wars RPG out there. It takes place a very long time, like 1,000 years ago, before the Phantom Menace. You play as a character unnamed,
Sure.
and then you go through trying to reclaim your memory because you don't remember a whole lot. You wake up on this ship, and then you get attacked by the Sith, and you're crash landing here on what is it? It starts with a
I have no
T. It's at
idea.
the tip of my tongue. Uh,
I unfortunately never played this game.
Anyway.
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm sure someone in the comments will be able to catch that what the planet was called. But yeah, this game right here, I didn't get too far. My very first run, I played it on the Xbox the first time from a buddy. I didn't get very far, but I was hooked. And then eventually, I got my copy of this and KOTOR 2 on a disc, and I went through the whole game the very first time, and I was like, I must do this again. Let's see if I can make some different choices or try to see if I can replicate the same thing. You're gonna get one or two endings, good side or light side ending, but just having the freedom it feels like to get your character to dress up like a bounty hunter or even a Jedi later on as you figure out that you actually are one. To wield a lightsaber. It's just a very fun game. I recommend it if you haven't played it. You can play it now, besides on PC and Xbox. I'm sure you can find it somewhere there, but now you can play it on your mobile phone.
Oh yeah, those games that are so old that now the computers in our hands are like more than capable of handling those.
Seriously.
Before I move on, these were Rob's top 3. One of those did make one of our top 3. It was one of my honorable mentions. You'll see in a second. But Dark Forces, totally forgot about that game. We had the demo that we kept playing over and over. All right. Next up, we're alternating. So mine is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. I don't know if anyone has heard of this game. I don't know how we found this game.
Yeah.
I think we rented it from Blockbuster or something, but it basically, you're the Jedi and you go through the story of Episode 1. So this is level 1 here. You're on the Trade Federation ship and you go through This was the first game I ever played with lightsaber combat, and it was just so underrated title. Agreed, 100% agreed. And it was just so cool to be able to control someone with a lightsaber. You had these different combos. I mean, you can see how old the game is. Like, it wasn't overly complicated. You could double jump, but you had these combos. Come on, deflect, dude. You had these combos that you could use, and you had you could deflect bolts back. And if you had if you had the perfect, you could play as Plo Koon. Don't worry, I'm getting there. If you had the perfect timing, you could deflect them back at the droids. Like, hopefully he'll do it. Yeah, see, exactly, just like that. But you have to do it right as they're shooting. Like, you have to watch their bodies. It was awesome. And then and you could be as Plo Koon, you could be as Mace Windu or Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon had some nice force healing things. And you could be the people with guns too. You could be Padme or Captain Tarpals. Not Captain Tarpals. Captain Panaka. And it was just so cool. There's Gungan missions. There's and the level 10, the finale, was just a long drawn out fight with Darth Maul, and eventually you can beat him. And there's one level where you have to race Staps through the streets of Naboo. It was just great. The replay value on this for me was massive. I must have played this through so many times. I played it through until the disc didn't work anymore. Like, it kept glitching and getting stuck on level 10, and it was heartbreaking. So anyway, Star Wars Episode 1, Jedi Power Battles, dealing with the Phantom Menace, which I think goes really good with goes straight into your next selection, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that is correct. My next top game was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the video game. Back from 1999 for the PS1. I think it also came out for PC, but I played it on the PS1. This was another replay game that I just enjoyed as a kid. Like, you get to play semi-open world concept. If you know how to play it, going around. They also call it the Gungan Murder Simulator. It's because with your lightsaber, you can literally just kill anything with it. You get to play as Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Padme, and I think you get to play as Panaka as well. But Padme and Panaka are the later levels. It's mostly Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. But you go around... basically trying to follow the same mission as the movie. The dialogue's a little clunky, a little bit. The game, as you can see, the game looks a little outdated, but this was the game for me as a PlayStation owner. Like, out of all the PS1 games I had, and I had quite a bit, this one was right there at the top. Of course, at some points I did have to use cheat codes. You could use cheat codes if, instead of having to buy DLCs and whatnot, you had actual cheat codes back then.
Oh yeah, those were the days.
Those were the days. Yeah, you had cheat codes, and then you could skip the levels. You could have infinite ammo, or something else. I forgot what it was, but this was the game for me. I skipped some of the missions I thought were too hard as a kid, and went on further. But now I'm looking at them. I was like, you know what? This game, it would have been easy to beat now. I'm sure I say that, and then I'm going to go buy it again, because you can buy it right now on the PlayStation Store for $5. I say that, I'll buy it, and then I'm going to get my butt handed to me.
Right where you got your butt handed to you back in the day.
Oh, yeah. And then it's going to bring up some trauma.
I remember playing Spyro through again. Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. I played it first in middle school, and I played it again in high school, and I was like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. Why did I struggle with this? How is this so much easier now? Just, it was very strange. So I hope that is your experience if you replay this game. All right, so that was episode 1, Phantom Menace the game. Next up for me, I wavered so hard on these are the new Battlefronts. I wavered so hard in between Star Wars Battlefront, which came out in 2015, and Star Wars Battlefront 2, which came out in 2017. And I had to go with Star Wars. They were neck and neck. I had to go with the first one, the first Star Wars Battlefront that came out in 2015, because I played them both so much. I played this game religiously. Like I had, it was a point in my career when I had so much free time. 2 cats in the house, no kids yet, and I played this so much. And I played Battlefront 2 a lot too, but I kept wishing I kept being like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do this mission again. Oh wait, that was the first one. And so something about the graphics and the movement and the exact something about the second one doesn't hit the spot like this first one does. This one, and it got cheesy a little bit later because after it was out for like a year and a half, people just got really, really sweaty with how they would use like the bubble shield and the diving. Like you'd have people who you wouldn't be able to hit them once and they would kill you in a second. And that so multiplayer started to get so the first one was so crisp. That's exactly the right way to put it. It was the armor was so shiny. All the movements were really smooth. Everything was fantastic. It almost felt like in some respects the second one like went down a notch. Like a lot of things are better. The space flight in the second one is way better. The space battles, but this type of combat in the first one was, in my opinion, unmatched. So that's why it edged out the second one for me. And it didn't have like a campaign, but it had very challenging single player modes, like missions that you could do to unlock stuff, and it was good.
Do you think that maybe the reason why the first one kind of outdid the second one a little bit maybe was because they were able to focus on things like this because it was multiplayer heavy, and when they did Battlefront 2, they had to kind of split what they were going to work on or something, and it kind of deterred the game a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I wonder, because the second one did have like that full campaign with Iden Verso, so I wonder if that made the multiplayer suffer a little bit if they put so much into that, or if they put so much into the space flight and the dogfighting, because that is far superior. Yeah. That's all I did when the beta came out. I just sat there leveling up in fighters. I had some sweet kill streaks before everybody else caught up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you can't even fly 5 meters without getting hit.
Nope. Now it's bad. Well, now also people just don't play anymore. The game, the number of people playing has gone down to it's a lot of times, depending on what time you're getting on, it's hard to even find a full squad. All right, so like I said, that was Star Wars Battlefront 2015, and let's move on to your third pick.
My
Force
third
Unleashed.
Yep. Okay, yeah, Force Unleashed. This was on Rob's list. So Rob, you and I got kind of the same list, similar interest in games. Love it. But yeah, Force Unleashed. This game was amazing. I've played it on all 3 different platforms for PlayStation: PSP, PS2, and PS3. I was all in this game. This game was so obviously Force heavy because Force Unleashed because the concept was kind of new to the game, to gaming. It seems like you can do a lot of force powers, force lightning, force push, force pull, and all that with just a few clicks and buttons like that. Like you could just saw Star Killer just take that TIE fighter, just blow everybody up. Basically, this game was cool. The lightsabers, crystal hunting. That's where I was at. You collect the holocron, you get a crystal. You collect the holocron, you might get a piece of armor or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always decked them out. I always had like this thing where halfway through the game, I would change my lightsaber from the red one that you see him currently having to a blue or a green one, just depending on how I felt. And then I would put him in his jet and put him in a Jedi robe because the very ending of this game, you have to go save your crew in the Rebel Alliance before it officially becomes the Rebel Alliance.
Spoilers. Just kidding.
Spoilers.
12 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I forget.
But
yeah. Sorry, go.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say this game. Yeah, Star Killers is shenanigans incarnate. Yeah. What Rob said. That's basically it. This game was just full on mayhem, and you can't beat games like that. Beat a game like this. They try to replicate it in Force Unleashed 2. Unfortunately, that fell kind of short. The story for that one, it's like they couldn't figure out where to go with it. They tried their best.
Unmemorable for me.
It is.
I don't even. If you ask me the story of Force Unleashed 2, I would not be able to tell you. I played it through for sure. I remember renting it and getting excited, especially about the trailer. And I remember fighting that giant monster, which was cool. But yeah, I don't. It's just definitely not memorable.
The only cool things about that game was that he got a second lightsaber, and the fact that he was a clone. I mean, that was kind of interesting. But really, the second one and even this one a little bit are more memorable for the DLC content, where you choose the bad ending. You get Sith Master missions basically, where the original trilogy turns out different because it's Star Killer doing all this instead of Vader. I think everyone's remembers that a little bit more than the game itself, to be honest with you. You see a lot of it on YouTube more than the actual Force Unleashed game now. And they're a lot more, which I think is pretty cool. I played the first one's DLC, and I thought it was amazing. I didn't get a chance to play the second one, but I've watched it, loved it. I kind of wish there was the third one, but as the sales, I'm sure the sales weren't that great, and Disney took over at that time, so maybe it was time to put this series to bed before it either got better or got worse.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yes.
One fun little lore thing that about Starkiller. If you're watching a Star Wars podcast, you probably know this already. But Starkiller was originally supposed to be Luke's last name, Skywalker. But it was eventually judged to be too aggressive, too violent, not really a Jedi name. So that's but in honor of that, they named this character Starkiller, and that is also where Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens came from. I'm just happy Sam Witwer stuck around afterward. Me too. We have gotten so much great content from him. I remember seeing an interview with Sam Witwer, it was an interview with somebody else about Sam Witwer, where he was in a meeting with Dave Filoni, and Dave Filoni was like, for an episode of the Clone Wars, and Dave Filoni was like, hey, we want you to say this to no, it wasn't, sorry, it was an interview with somebody about Sam Witwer out nerding Dave Filoni, and she was like, I've never seen someone out nerd Dave Filoni before, but Dave Filoni wanted Anakin to say to his mom in an episode of the Clone Wars, like a flashback or a dream or something, he wanted him to say, I have a wife, I want you to meet her. And everyone was like, oh yeah, that's so impactful, so emotional. And Sam Witwer was in there and being like, wait, no, you can't say that. Like, that was a bad take. He can't say that because she already met her. Shmi already met Padme in episode 1. Like, and Dave Filoni and all the other people in there were like, Oh my god. That yep, we can't say that. And he was the only one that like caught on to that. And his like Rob said, his maul is iconic. Like he's just his Kenobi. He's just it's so good that he stuck around. He played Star Wars the next game I'm about to say. He streamed and played that game sometimes, and like he had a following and he would just be on Twitch like like Darth Maul playing Star Wars Squadrons. It was awesome. All right. Anyway, last but not not last, because we have a king of them all here. But my third pick was a game that came out fairly recently called Star Wars Squadrons. I was always a fan of the piloting options in all the Battlefront games, and Star Wars Squadrons was announced, where you would be a pilot like the entirety of the game. That was like the whole point of the game, was to be a pirate and do awesome stuff in a cockpit. And I was so freaking pumped. And it came out, and I was lucky enough to play on a competitive team for Star Wars Squadrons. We were called the Cavern Angels. We were called the Gold Squadron. And we won some tournaments. It was great. I guess I didn't get ever first place on the tournaments, but we won a lot of stuff. And it was great to have like a squad to just like we were a unit. We would like practice. We would go on and play at night, and they it was this tight community, and everybody knew each other, and all the streamers would follow each other. It was awesome, and it's the most involved piloting system, like engine, like game engine, the most involved piloting setup. Like as you can see, right, you can't see my mouse right here. That is oh, well, that's an ad. But there were those three light up. There was you could divert power on your ship to either the shields. Come on, come back. Oh, it's skipping ahead. Whatever. Come on, go to the. Oh, this is a cutscene. Hold on.
The cutscenes were pretty good. So
Another ad. Yep. Cutscenes were great too, but you could divert power in your ship from the shields, either to the shields or to the weapon systems or to the engines, depending on what you needed for. So if you need to get the hell out of there, you could divert power to the engines and scoot. Or if you were about to go in for a bombing run and you wanted to get some extra power with your lasers, you divert power to the lasers and just hammer them. Like and you had to do that all in split second. And then there were, come on, give me. Yeah, here, see? Look how fast they're like switching things back and forth. So his powers and his lasers now. But it was crazy, and obviously the Empire had shields, the Rebel ships had shields, and the Empire ships didn't. And you could be the Y wing if you wanted to bomb things. You could be the A wing if you were just PvP. And so everybody had their own roles on the team, and it was just awesome. And like Rob said, a lot of people, I never played VR, but people would get VR headsets, and they would get like throttles, like controllers, so that they could have their joystick, I guess, and it would be like joystick and then like a setting over here, and you could have your VR headset on. It would be like you're inside a cockpit. It's awesome. They actually sold out of the Thrustmaster. Yeah, drifting in the A-wing and TIE Interceptor, any of the TIE ships, really, it was you could just like we would call it not lollipopping. What was it called? Just bouncing around. It was just you would become unhittable. Ballooning. I forget what was the term we used. Whatever. Anyway, Star Wars Squadrons. It's awesome. It's very cheap now. Unfortunately, it didn't have dev support for more than like a year after it was released. I know the player base also went down significantly, so it was very niche, but it was just so awesome. So that's Star Wars Squadrons. And last but not least, we have a classic on here that was in both of our top 3. So we made it the ultimate king of our Star Wars video game rankings. It is the classic Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. If you played this game once, you will not forget it. Like it's just the greatest. Who we watching here? This is Dan Q8000. We're borrowing your stream here for a sec, but it's just such a good game. You would do these. I agree. I'm glad we're all unison here.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? That like I don't really have many words for this one.
I mean, what more words could you say than best Star Wars video game probably ever? I mean, that's maybe just my opinion, but I feel like a lot of people too. This game was the ultimate Star Wars game. Like, literally put you really in the war of Star Wars.
Yep.
Being able to play the prequel trilogy in its almost whole, and then the original trilogy. This game, you talk about replay value. I didn't really play a whole lot of online, but the story campaign, just listening to Tamora Morrison narrate, was just the most amazing thing ever. And just hearing the story about the 501st through an actual soldier's perspective at that time. This game, I almost was able to quote it a couple of times when I was playing this. I can't so much now, but this game was
Playing
quotable.
through the clones' experience of betraying the Jedi changed me as a person.
Yes. Yeah, seriously.
Like that was no Star Wars gamer who has played this can remember that scene and not just be like it's just it was iconic. Galactic Conquest, you could just the replay value was so high because you could do so many different things. Like you could just do the whole thing again as a sniper. You could do the whole thing and just be a different hero every time. Like,
and the hero mode, that was what everyone enjoyed in multiplayer. In online, or even right there at home, because you're able to play up to 4 players. Everyone wanted to play that.
Yep. I remember that the Jedi Temple level, not in the story, but in the Jedi Temple in the what's it called? Galactic Conquest. I would be Darth Maul, and all the clone troopers would spawn in one spawn point, and I would spawn as Darth Maul and get over to the spawn point really fast, and then just murder them. It was unfair. I would get like 130 kills just because they would keep spawning in that one room because they hadn't taken any other command posts yet because I hadn't let them get there, and that was just so fun.
Around the same time, I mean, you were talking about how playing Order 66 and killing all the Jedi was just gut wrenching. Around that same time, you had Revenge of the Sith video game come out the exact moment where you definitely got to play as Anakin. So going through both of these games, it just kind of ripped you,
Yep. They found the darkness within us.
They did. It was like, hey, this is my childhood right here. They just want to suck the life out of you and let you.
Yeah. Just so those are our top 3 video games. Check out Star Wars Outlaws if you can, if you want to. It looks awesome. I'm gonna try. We did want to note that Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are honorable mentions for us. I just have not been able to play them. They look awesome. I've seen my stepson play, and it's not anything against them. I just haven't experienced them firsthand enough to rank them with the games I played. But they look great. Nothing against them at all. They look awesome. All right, moving on to I would say one of the main discussions of this is viewing order. So I want to separate this discussion into 2 categories. So the viewing order for veterans, like people who already know and love Star Wars, and then the viewing order you would use if you were going to show Star Wars to someone who has never seen any Star Wars before. So what are you? So let's start with the easy one. As a Star Wars veteran, how do you? And you're like, I'm going to watch all of Star Wars. How are you going to do it?
I have this thing where I have to have everything in chronological order. So I'll watch 1 and 2, and then if I'm feeling frisky, depending on any order, I'll put in all the TV series, the animated movie, and things like that, just to get my order in chronological order. But usually, of anything, it's all chronological order no matter what. Even with the Clone Wars TV series, I make sure that's in chronological order. I have a list to keep check of.
Oh yeah, that's on StarWars.com now too. By the way, they have the list on there.
Yeah, I actually copied the list on my phone, so every time I watch a couple episodes on my lunch break, I check it off on my note app to say, "Yep, that's the one I've watched. Move on to the next one."
Nice. Yeah, I downloaded a graphic recently that had everything, including the new like Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, individual episodes, because they're like, split up sometimes, and it listed them all in exact chronological order. Like, you have to watch this, then you have to watch these 3 episodes of this, then you go through this series, then you watch these 2 episodes of this, and it's very in depth. I've never done a whole watch through, not since it was just the 9 movies. I've never done a whole watch through in chronological order. So
I will say though, if you happen to skip some of the television stuff, but you watch the movies, I recommend finding a cut, and I have one, the Ultimate Revenge of the Sith edition cut that's fan edited, where they combine the
Clone Wars,
the Siege of Mandalore arc right into that movie, and it just enhances the experience for me.
Yep. I have heard of that. I've never found it, but I have heard of it, and I think that would be awesome to have all of that wrapped together. I think that would be really cool. I'm gonna agree with you on chronological. I've never done the full straight up, but I've done like you do the prequels, and then you do Solo, and then you do Rogue One, and then you do into the Rogue One into Episode 4 is just unmatched. And then after Return of the Jedi, like half the time, I feel like I either go straight to the sequels or pop over to like Mandoverse. I think. I don't know. It depends. I think it depends how dedicated I am to. Because it would, with the amount of time I have each day to do this, like I can't do a movie a day. Like I can maybe do a couple episodes, but like it depends on how much time I'm willing to. I can't see myself sitting through all of Clone Wars for a while. Like I'll watch some episodes here and there, but it all at once probably not. I just want to watch something else in between. But yeah, I think chronological. That's the most fun, I think, if you've seen everything. All right, let's get into the tricky one. If you're going to show someone Star Wars for the first time and they've never seen a Star Wars, they kind of know Baby Yoda is kind of cute and they kind of know what lightsabers are. And Dark Vader might be a bad guy. I'm not sure. If that's their level of knowledge, where are you starting them? How are you going about it?
Man, this is kind of tough because I would want to push somebody doing it chronologically just because that's how I feel like that you get the whole story in that way is chronological. So you want to show somebody new is like, see this kid, he's going to become this guy right here. Let's watch his journey. And then we'll watch 7, 8, 9 later on, continuing with that. But I've seen people do what is called the machete order, where it's what is it? I got it right here. It's 4. They go 4, 5, 1, then 2, 3, 6.
That one.
7, 8, 9. Yeah,
that's what Rob said. So that's kind of actually where I lean, because chronological order is fun for us grizzled veterans, but I feel like as a new person, you get stuff spoiled for you if you watch the prequels before you watch the originals. So I
That's
think
true.
like if for some reason they're the only person left on Earth who doesn't know that Darth Vader is Luke's father, like I don't want them knowing that in the prequels. I'd rather them be like, oh, like if there's any chance of that. I also tend toward starting at the originals because it's really hard. Even for me, I love them, but it is really hard to watch A New Hope after you watch Revenge of the Sith. Just on production quality alone, it's
That's true.
just like you start out Revenge of the Sith with that epic battle, and you see one of the greatest lightsaber duels of all time. And then you go back to 1977 film quality, and they're like, "Kch, kch," and I get it, and it's fine, and I love it just as much, but it's just hard to watch, and I'm so worried that I would get someone hooked in the prequels, and then show them the originals, and they're like, what the hell is this? I can't. How do you do this? But if you start with the classics and present them as classics, it's like, hey, look, it's the 70s and 80s. You know what you're going to get. So I definitely would say 4, 5, 6, or 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, or 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. I could go either way, mostly because I do like machete order, because it's nice to see the stuff, get the Darth Vader revelation out of the way, then see how he became Darth Vader and all that history, and then finish out the Darth Vader arc. That's kind of fun. But
Yeah.
if you do that, you do spoil the Leia is my sister revelation. So kind of a toss up there.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't think about that for the machete order.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of people don't. It's a lot of people also skip episode 1, and I vehemently disagree with that. I don't see how you can skip episode 1 when, number one, Darth Maul. I mean, come on, how is that
Right.
not? And you see how the whole thing started, like the politics, you see what Palpatine originated at. Like he's introduced as Palpatine. You're like, I know that name. Who's Palpatine? Why is he a normal dude? Like, so I don't know. That's part of it. And then after that, I think I would just see where they wanted to go next. Like if they're like, oh, I know who Rey is, I want to see Rey. All right, let's watch the sequels. Episode 1 is silly, but successfully sets up so much. Yep,
it does.
That's pretty much it. And success, like double-bladed lightsaber. I mean, it sets that up. It sets up Padme. Like, it's weird to see. I feel like it would be weird to see Anakin so smitten with Padme all of a sudden in episode 2 without seeing their relationship in episode 1.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to know how connected he is with his mother? Like his mother is devastated. His mother's death is devastating in episode 2, and you don't get to see how hard it was for him to leave her in episode 1. You don't know why Anakin is special if you didn't see episode 1. You also don't see any pod racing, so I strongly disagree with skipping episode 1. But yeah, after those first
it sets up the fear, anger, hate, and suffering. Episode 1 is all about the fear.
Yes, and you get to see like there's all the different potential of the dark side. Like all you see in the rest is like the Empire and the like. You don't it introduces Darth Maul. It introduces isn't that the movie where he's like, always two there are, a master and an apprentice? Like even just important crucial quotes that you need for there. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. After that, I think you just go where they guide you. Like if they're like, I want to see Baby Yoda, show them the Mandalorian. You can talk about that era right after. If they're like, if they, I mean, Rogue One is never wrong. You could show that probably any point after that. Animated series, as long as you gently give the context. But yeah, cool viewing order. There you go. Hey, this is our longest show ever. We're past an hour now.
All
Boom.
right.
All right. Last but not last. All right, we're going to move on to our culture spotlight here, and what we're doing something very interesting and close to my heart this week is SW5E, or Star Wars 5E, which is basically Star Wars Dungeons and Dragons. There's we don't need to go into too much here, but there's a whole website that maps out Star Wars onto a Dungeons and Dragons system. So as you can see here, I'm at sw5e.com, and there's in D&D you have races. There are all these species here that you can be. You can be droids, you can be Ewok, you can be there's the Keldor, like Plo Koon. You could be Rhodian. You could be, there's 141 different species of Star Wars races that you can be in this game. I myself have played a Wookiee Jedi. Very fun. He inherited his, I believe his name was Stank, and we just called him Stank. And he played, I like to really lean into his hatred of Trandoshans, which his training did not prevent him from experiencing. You got classes here, Berserker, Consular. There's they're not fighter is the same kind of, but they're not the same as like Dungeons and Dragons 5e. I mean, there's monk and fighter are the same. There's Berserker is kind of like barbarian. You have the force wielders, Consular and Guardian. This one's melee versus using force powers. Sentinel blends melee with force powers. Scholar is academic. Operative is stealth. Scout is also like stealth and tech. Engineer, obviously a lot of tech. It's very fitting for the Star Wars universe. Armor, shields, combat suits, weapons. You got blaster rifles, broad sabers. You got all kinds of light weapons. Let's see if I can. You have a lightsaber, which is super cool, but you have light staff. You have wait, where are the others? There's I would have to search. Simple light weapon. Here we go. Come on. All simple light weapon. You got lightsaber, light dagger, light club, light blade. There's light whip somewhere too. It's just awesome. And obviously it's Star Wars, so you have starships. There's different roles you play, like within a starship. It's like a whole different game up there. There's like advantages you can get, like feats basically specifically for when you're on a starship, modifications to the starship that you can that help you out. It's really, really very involved. And you just create your character. But again, Star Wars 5e, sw5e.com. There's also a downloadable PDF, Star Wars 5e Player's Handbook. All the info you need, tons of pages. Sorry, 312 pages. So maybe don't print that one out. But yeah, so Star Wars 5e, can I be a half gonk monk? It was a question. If I'm your dungeon master, yes. But we were talking about maybe trying to run a Star Wars 5e online game later down the line. We could maybe live stream a little bit of that, but that could be a fun situation. Half gonk monk. I don't know if dexterity is Gonk's strong suit. I'm not gonna lie, but as a dungeon master, I like to say you can certainly try. Go ahead and roll. Anyway, that is all I had. Anything to add for SW5E, Marty?
I did think it was kind of neat that they combined Legends and current canon stuff. I guess it'd be more Legends material in here, but I thought it was pretty neat, very detailed. I didn't expect, like an actual like whole book plus all the supplements books for it too. Like you got, if I could actually
Yep, right here. No, I
where,
got it right
yeah,
here.
you got it,
Player's
yeah.
handbook. Yeah, like here's a whole guide on the starships, like the supplements. Um, all the different types of starships that you can get, and all the how it works step by step. Acquire a starship, hull points, customization. It's truly insane. It's like a whole different book. It's like a whole different game
Yeah.
almost. It's just yeah. Um,
I did think it was funny though. There was one in one of the books.
oop.
Somebody had used a character from Borderlands 2, if not Borderlands 1, as a picture of a character in the game. I was like, that's not Star Wars, but okay,
Nope.
it worked. It worked. It looked cool. It looked like a berserker character, but it was a uh, psycho berserker from Borderlands. I was like,
Wow.
that's neat.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. The possibilities are endless. We had a scout guy who was just absolutely overpowered. He was just getting he had dual pistols. I think he was a Duros like Cad Bane, and he was
Ooh.
just getting double um, attacks and double advantage on stuff just because he was so sneaky. It was insane. All right. So that is the Culture Spotlight, Star Wars 5e. Wanted to do a little quick Q&A. Not exactly Q&A, but we had some talk in the comments last time about Terras Kasi and Tricata. These are both forms or types of combat. Terras Kasi specifically, I'm reading off of Wikipedia here, also known as Steel Hand in BASIC, was a deadly and mystical martial art discipline renowned throughout the galaxy for its lethality. Originated in the remote star cluster of the Picanth Reach on the world of Bunduki. Good God, I have no idea how to pronounce that, which was populated by the near human species known as the Epicanthics. On Bunduki, the secretive followers of Palawa developed Terras Kasi solely to fight with Jedi. Their homeworld was devastated in a war involving the Jedi Council, and the followers developed the deadly martial art to ensure that another world would never be destroyed by the actions of the Council. So that is Terras Kasi. It was formed to fight Force wielders, specifically Jedi, but I know that it went on to be used most notably by what's his name in Solo, the guy the Crimson Dawn guy who
Dryden
Vision was.
Voss.
Dryden Voss used Terras Kasi, and that's why he was so deadly in hand-to-hand combat at the end of the movie.
Kira
It was also
uses it too.
say it again.
So Kira uses it too.
Yeah, I think he taught her, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
But I also know another character in that movie, spoiler alert, Darth Maul also uses it, and he incorporated it into his lightsaber fighting, not just his hand-to-hand. So there are all kinds of moves, Eric Slash, Charging Wampa, Dancing Dragon Snake, all these moves, Gundark Slap, all these moves are known to be part of the Terras Kasi fighting style.
Have you played the Masters of Terras Kasi video game?
What? No, I've never even heard of that. What is that?
It's
What
it's
system?
like PS1.
Oh my god!
Probably around whatever other consoles were there too. So probably Nintendo 64. But it's a video game around that time, where like Mortal Kombat was kind of popular, and then you had Tekken with the 3D graphics to fight.
Okay.
It was around that time, and I guess someone had the idea, let's do a Star Wars one. So now you get to fight as characters from the original trilogy. They come with a couple different outfits. They have weapons you can use, and then there's a few newer characters as well.
Wow. I have never even heard of that game. So it's like a 1v1 like fighting combat like Tekken style.
Yep.
Wow. That's epic.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I'm going to be looking up later.
You can play as Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Leia Organa Solo, as they put it in there. I'm sure it was actually Leia Organa. Darth Vader, Mara Jade, and then a few other characters that are not in the movies is Arden Lin, Thok,
Sorry, what was that name?
Thok, Thok.
Okay.
Hoar, I'm not sure I actually pronounced that. I don't want to say something dirty. Jodo Cast, and I think it's a droid called 17786.
I hope that's a droid.
I'm actually going to look at it right now. I'm on Wikipedia with it.
Yeah,
It's a
Just click that.
stormtrooper. It's a stormtrooper.
Oh. Stormtrooper that knows Teras Kasi?
Apparently.
I have questions.
He was recruited into the Empire, the Emperor's hand. He was recruited basically for the Emperor's main legion, I guess.
I guess that's where you'd want him. I feel like they'd make him a royal guard or I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I guess if you think about it, I guess a stormtrooper would be more recognizable than a.
That's a good joke.
Guard.
That's a good joke. That's a good joke. That is an Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference, and I salute you, sir. Well done.
Came out October 97.
Oh my god. 90s. Came out in the 1900s. Wow. Teras Kasi game came out in the 1900s. That's incredible. All right. The other one that came up in the comments was Tricata, and that was what we were actually talking about. Tricata was a style of lightsaber combat that involved turning the blade of the saber on and off during a fight. A skilled saber wielder who did not follow the traditional rules of lightsaber combat. The Sith, known as the Stranger, used Tricata while fighting a group of Jedi on Kofar in 132 BBY. That is a reference to the Acolyte, of course. Stranger later used Tricata again during his rematch against Jedi Master Sol on Brendok, and Sol himself also employed the technique in order to destroy the Stranger's lightsaber, which allowed him to win the duel. Spoiler alert. Guess I shouldn't have really said that. But that was in canon. That's the canon version of Tricata. In the Legends, Tricata was a form of lightsaber combat developed for taking advantage of a lightsaber's ability to be turned on and off. A unique quality in a melee weapon. Created by a Jedi consular in the days of the Old Republic to compensate for weaknesses with using lightsabers. It was based on quickly shutting off, then reigniting the blade, thus creating the possibility to confuse one's opponent, allowing for diversionary feints in combat. Extremely effective, even against multiple opponents. However, this method was greatly frowned upon and was almost never used by either the Sith or the Jedi. The Sith claimed that it showed weakness and demonstrated a lack of power, while the Jedi claimed that this form was unsportsmanlike. Regardless, this lightsaber form was not widely used. So there you have it. Teras Kasi, melee fighting style meant to fight specifically quick blows against force wielders. Don't give them a chance to do their thing. And Tricata is the combat style of turning your lightsaber on and off quickly while in a fight. Seems really risky.
Yeah, it does. And I was looking in the appearances in the Legends section for Tricata, and it says it's in episode 2 and episode 3. And I'm trying to figure out where in the movies that happened.
Same.
But it was in the first appearance in canon, from what I saw, is actually in the Clone Wars episode Revival.
Yes. That was Isn't that with Maul and Savage Opress?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Maybe I'll go watch that. I don't remember it specifically. I don't remember it popping out to me because I feel like I'd remember that kind of thing, but
I know.
Maybe they're stretching. I'll find that out. Anyway, so that was a Q&A from last time. Obviously, again, at any point, if anybody has any questions, suggestions for segments, anything to be talked about in a Q&A, drop them in the comments. But for now, we're going to move on to our last segment of the show, which is Star Wars trivia. So take it away, Marty.
Let's see if I can get this thing to work. All right.
I got 4 out of 5 last time. Gonna see how much I will be honorable and not lie about how many I get right this time.
All right,
I didn't lie last time. I got 4 out of 5. That's not what I'm saying. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. You're good. So I don't know if I did a good job on trying to separate them from being easiest to hardest. I tried this time around. But there are 5 questions. They kind of span across, all 3 trilogies and other materials, especially canon. I'm trying to stick to the canon. I might go outside and do Legends just to shake it up a little bit, But this was kind of tough. It's kind of hard to come up with some questions. I feel like I want to stump people. That's going to be my job. I want to stump people. While at the same time, while Googling and trying to come up with these questions, stump myself.
Oh, good. Good sign.
But without further ado, let's get to the Star Wars trivia. Slowly going. There we go. It's not going to do the changes anymore. Question number 1. What is the Wookiee home world? Is it A, Coruscant, B, Naboo, C, Kashyyyk, or D, Dathomir? Give about 5 seconds, maybe. Because I'm not going to pop up the answers until the end of this trivia segment. Just that way, we'd go through them pretty quickly. All right. Moving on. Number 2. Which planet is known as the birthplace of the Jedi Order? Is it A, Korriban, B, Ahch-To, C, Alderaan, or D, Mandalore?
I believe B is pronounced Ahch-To.
All right. Yeah, we're going to move on. Question number 3.
Thank you, Rob.
What is the name of the pod race event Anakin competes in? Is it A, the Boonta Eve Classic, B, Board Ski Classic, C, Pod Race Grand Prix, or D, Life Day Classic?
Man, you see all the fun stuff you miss out on if you skip episode 1. Never skip episode 1.
Never skip episode 1.
Never.
There's no reason to.
Nope. What are you on a time crunch? Come on. If you've never, you haven't seen the prequels right now. What's the rush?
All right, we're going to move on to question number 4. What is Finn's stormtrooper designation? Is it A, CT-7567, B, TK-427, C, FN-2187, or D, THX-1138?
I'm a huge fan of D. Well done.
Thank you. I might just make that a pop-up and everything.
That would be appropriate.
If they reference it in the movies, why can't we?
Yeah, right.
All right, and we're going to move on to our final question. What is Din Djarin's childhood homeworld before being rescued by Death Watch? Is it A, Canto Bight, B, Tatooine? I guess C disappeared. Naboo. Or D, Akvedtina? All right. Give it just a couple more seconds. If anyone needs to go back to a question, shout it out. I guess not really shout out, but go back to the comments or anything like that. Give it a couple more seconds before we go to the final answers. All right, we'll go ahead and move on then. And there you go. Here's your answers.
Boom. I am 5 for 5, and so is Rob in the comments.
All right, Rob.
He got that. Oh, he left. He got that. He got that. And he got that. Boom. Look at him go.
Nice. 5 for 5.
Trophy. You get the trophy. Full disclosure, I went to college with Rob.
Oh, nice.
I believe we played Star Wars Battlefront 2 together, in fact, a few times. Those were the days. All right. This was a solid outing for episode 2 of the podcast. Again, we hope you enjoy what we are doing here. We know Star Wars fandom and comment sections can sometimes get dark and toxic, but remember, there are more of us. It doesn't have to be that way. And again, if you at any point have anything for us, questions, requests, suggestions for new segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments and we will see what we can do. So join us again next week at 7 p.m. Eastern to celebrate the best of Star Wars culture. So thanks, Rob. Thanks for tuning in. Loved your comments. It's good to have an engaged commenter who's got jokes. It's good stuff. So we will see you all next time.